Ta-da! Hello, hello. Good evening. It feels weird to be streaming like 2 days in a row. Like, I don't have this problem when it's on the weekend, when it's like, oh, I streamed. I streamed on Friday. I'm streaming again on Saturday because, you know, Saturday I'm not, like, I can do whatever I want. I have free time. But now it's like, oh, I was at work yesterday and then I streamed, and I was at work today as well and now I'm streaming. It's like, who am I? Where am I? But I'm hoping so hard to actually finish this game today because I want to know what the fuck is going on. Like, I have 5 hours of playing time on this game now, which is like the time that how long to beat says that the game is. Thank you for the pat. It's how long to beat says the game apparently is, but as we all know, because I'm reading it all loud, we're obviously gonna take longer. But we should be pretty close at this point. Like, I feel, I'll say maybe another 2 hours, maybe. But hopefully we find the truth today, because I want to know what the fuck is going on. I have not actually retained how the fuck to pronounce mausoleum. Nope, that's definitely not right. That doesn't feel right. But it's probably going to be mentioned a few times more, so pray for me. The disease is now reaching its final stages. A steady degeneration of the patient's physical and mental state, with brief episodes of elevated energy and intense panic. These symptoms are occasionally seen in those who suffer from the pale for an extended period. There is still no documented case of recovery from such an advanced progression of the disease. I do not fully understand the cause of my sudden decline, but I suspect it was invoked by a powerful fear. The hallucinations I suffered inside the crypt. Yes! Call it the crypt! Call it a crypt, that's good. I can pronounce crypt. Caused me significant stress, which likely increased the pale's aggressiveness. When I awoke on the ground outside the mausoleum, it was already nearly morning. I suspect I must have entered a delusional panic as I fled from what I witnessed. Whether they were apparitions of the Arafel or simply a reflection of my unstable mental condition, it no longer feels relevant in my last term of illness. Sena, of course, had never entered the catacombs. After our conflict, she ran to my study to wait for me. In a twist of fate, the one place I never thought to search. In the weeks since then, my previously abated symptoms have not only returned, but triggered the rapid deterioration of my health. There's little I can do but continue to study and write, making use of my remaining time in the hopes I may. The pen fell from Messiah's fingertips, clattering onto the desk. Blinking, he studied his own trembling hand with morbid interest. His pale, skeletal fingers were mottled with ink like a disease had discolored his pallid flesh. Between a loss of motor control and energy, it was becoming increasingly difficult to write. It served as a constant, painful reminder for the impending reality he was forced to accept. He was withering away. Both his body and his mind were breaking down. Soon he would no longer be recognizable to himself or to Sena. He couldn't bring himself to speak of it to her. The thought of making her cry again, leaving that as one of the last memories they would share with each other, it was too painful to even consider. The almanacs, directions to the city, the rest of my damned goal. Oh, where is it? Are you planning to send her to the city? Shuffling through and stacking up his papers, Isaiah attempted to work himself into a flow of impatient, productive activity. It was his usual method of distancing himself from things he didn't want to think about, but this time, the effort only met with abject failure. Tears blurred his vision, burning behind his eyes no matter how hard he glared. They spilled over and dragged down his sharp cheekbones, falling onto the layers of parchment in a soft, muffled patter. How would she think of him when he was gone? Would she hate him? It would be fully deserved with how much he'd failed her as a father. He had come so close to abandoning her at the orphanage, even if that would have led her to a better family. A life in a city, a childhood surrounded by friends, a world beyond the boundaries of this forest. A world that perhaps she could still find happiness in, even if it meant leaving him behind. My guy is dying, and finally he's like, oh, maybe I should have done something to improve my his daughter's living condition. But like, I mean, she was happy being with him, I'm guessing. No, it's too late. Far too late for me to ever give her that. He mumbled under his breath, clenching his jaw tightly. Far too late. The best he could do was help Sena provide for herself, to live freely and happily when he was gone. That was all. He repeated those words inside his mind, trying desperately to believe them. He was hopeless, powerless. There was nothing more he could do. Nothing more. A nauseating, guilty weight gnawed at his stomach. Slowly, he began to reach for the fallen quill, his fingers frail and trembling as they brushed its feather. If he could only just explain himself to her. If he could go back and remake everything, patch over all his choices and falsehoods, all of his misguided words. But she only had one childhood, and when he died, it would be over. There was no time left for forgiveness. As he clutched his head with both hands, hoarse sobs began to leak from his throat, a pathetic noise that he loathed to hear. Grief and anger, fear and self-hatred, guilt and final resignation. Blankly staring at the wall, a stream of wretched tears swallowing his words, all remaining thoughts dissolving into empty regret. He wept. Well, he's certainly come around from being like this absolute asshole of a man and of a dad he initially was portrayed as, so that's good. A kind of good father in a video game, finally. In a video game we're playing, at least. A beautiful sunny morning. She stood before the window, gazing up into the clear sky as she carefully buttoned her blouse. Sena was already gone. Just like the previous day, her side of the bed had been neatly remade, the sheets tucked in beneath her pillow and smoothed to perfection. As Esther descended the stairs, she could hear the birds keeping up their cheerful chorus outside. It felt warmer today. Summer was steadily approaching, and soon everything would be bright, beautiful, and flowering. Nearly a year ago, she'd set out during the same warm weather, full of determination, putting all of her faith into the plan she carefully mapped out. And now, after all this time, her closest lead was crumbling into dust. Perhaps it had been foolish to expect anything more. In the empty parlor, Esther saw a small note left out on the desk. She hesitated to pick it up. Somehow she felt like she already knew what it would say. Dear Esther, when we first made our arrangement, I was being too selfish, so I've changed my mind. You don't have to worry about helping me with my chores anymore. I can handle things by myself. I think you should focus on finishing with Papa's research instead. I doubt there's too much left to check, is there? If you spend the next few days just going through the bookshelves, it'll be much faster and more practical than what we're doing now. Wouldn't you agree? I set some food out for you in the kitchen. Please eat something so you can stay healthy. I'll see you tonight. Ouch! The nauseated, anxious feeling in her stomach made eating seem beyond unthinkable. But Sena was right. If she wanted to finish going through Isaiah's research, she had to keep up a semblance of strength. Esther didn't want to burden her any longer. After forcing herself to gulp down a small amount of food, Esther made her way back to the study. Being here so early in the morning, especially on such a beautiful day, felt strangely wrong. On mornings like this, they often went out to the stream or had breakfast in the garden. Sena had promised to show Esther more of her favorite picnic spots soon. Attempting to force away her intrusive thoughts, Esther resumed her search for the missing pages. But the dull, unrewarding nature of the task left her mind far too free to wander, and naturally, it kept returning to her situation with Sena. Slowly, she was beginning to piece together what had likely happened. Yesterday, the study door was closed, even though she'd left it open. It was possible Sena had shut it while passing by, but more likely, she'd been inside and found the journal entry Esther had pulled out. With a sinking feeling, she checked to confirm her suspicions, and sure enough, the page was missing. Not only was it an indirect warning left behind by Isaiah, but Esther had also kept completely silent about what she'd seen. Sena must have realized that she read it, and yet Esther was still in no hurry to leave, even though Isaiah clearly wouldn't have wanted her there. How could she ever expect Sena to prioritize a stranger over the wishes of her deceased father? A father who she obviously adored and who adored her in return despite his bitter ways. Even if she felt it was wrong to keep Sena isolated, it wasn't her decision to make. And in the end, if Sena decided to follow Isaiah's wishes, Esther had no right to hold it against her. She was only honoring her father's memory, living how he had always wanted her to. She knew that. She knew that, and yet... Esther took a long, deep breath to try and refocus. A heavy lump had formed in her throat. She had to concentrate to swallow it down, to force away the emotion rising in her chest. It was time for her to accept things and move on. She would learn a lesson from all this and continue her life with greater wisdom to fall back on if it happened again. It would be alright. In the end, everything would be alright. After a few minutes, Esther managed to calm herself down. Once she'd managed to regain a grip on her composure, she began to search for Isaiah's treatise. With even more focused intensity, pushing away any encroaching thoughts or feelings as they came to her. She deliberately ignored every journal page about his daily life, especially anything that mentioned Sena, and concentrated solely on finding something about the Arafel. But as the hours passed and morning turned into afternoon, her efforts still met with no success. It was so difficult not to let herself get exasperated. She could feel her focus waning again, and the heavy weight of the pail only worsened the sensation clouding her head. Realizing that it made more sense to take a short break and to keep pushing, Esther picked up a random stray paper and sat down at the desk with a quiet sigh. The writing was even messier than his previous entries, scribbled in such obvious haste that it nearly became incomprehensible. But as her eyes roamed across the page, Esther found herself getting steadily more absorbed in the disturbing writing. As if her mind was falling into step with Isaiah's own, she could decipher everything, understand it, feel it. As if she were there beside him. But she reads all about his being completely anxious all the time, that he's being followed. Isn't that just going to make her own mental well-being worse? I've boarded up the windows and barricaded the doors. I'm too terrified to light a candle, for its glow will surely betray me in the dark. I understand now that what I witnessed was no hallucination. No, I'm not mad after all. The Arafel have not forgotten me. I fled into the darkness, and I stirred those living fears from their deep sleep. Some of them took hold of me, seeped into my mind and body to hasten my decay, to ruin me with a vengeance. But from the others I managed to escape. And now, they're coming for me. They're waiting in the shadows, listening for my breath. I can feel the same rejection of life rising in my stomach like before, this bile of hatred for my own existence. It is their punishment. It is a premonition of what they will have me do. They will drive me to kill myself. By writing this, I'm only bringing them closer to me. They are so close now. Nothing will keep them out. Nothing will save me. All I can do is run. The quilt snapped between his trembling fingers. A chilling draft had leaked through the window, boarded up and secure as he thought it was. His stomach began to slowly knot itself in pure dread. Not safe. He wasn't safe. They were almost here. Morning. Just until morning. He pushed himself up to his feet in a sudden clumsy movement, sending his papers scattering off the desk. A small beak of fluid fell to one side, spilling its contents onto the floor, but the man failed to notice. Morning, that was it. If he could just run, flee, escape them until the morning, he could still live. Racing over to his door, he froze as his fingers brushed the doorknob. Careful, he had to be careful. He pressed his ear to the door, held his breath and listened. Silence. It was safe. With a shuddering exhale of relief, he crept into the hallway and down the stairs. 2 large bookshelves and a chair were barricading in the front door, but he only needed to remove one of the shelves to slip outside. Quickly. Quietly. Before long, he had stumbled outside into the swirling mist that surrounded the manor. The frigid wind drained the color and feeling from his face, but it was a welcome numbness. Where can I go? Where? No, it doesn't matter anywhere. Far, far away, but not here. Slurred words rushed from his lips, clouded with the confusion of a man half asleep. He began to fall forward, but instead of spilling to the ground, the momentum sent his body stumbling through the grass. A lurching walk, then a jog. Faster, faster. Soon he had broken into a steady run. He had to get away. He had to get away from it all. But his footfalls were loud, so loud. The faster he ran, the more they heard him. They were close now, getting closer. No, he was safe. He'd be safe, stayed safe, as long as he kept running. He thought he was safe, knew he was safe, had to be safe. And he was safe until he looked behind him. Fear sliced through his skull. For a moment, everything went black. When his eyes reopened, he was running. Why? Why? He'd left. He was gone. They couldn't catch him here. They couldn't follow him. No, he didn't want to die. He didn't want to suffer. He didn't deserve to suffer. He hadn't done anything wrong. They knew it. In that moment, the world warped and shifted. Horrible screams pierced his ears, familiar screams, calling out his name. Shouting, hating, weeping, screaming. The cries of all those he had heard in his selfishness. No. They were in front of him, running from him as he ran now, fleeing from those who'd come to collect him. The voices warped and twisted into shrieks, cutting through his brain like knives of penance. Please, stop it, no, please. He grabbed his head with both hands, covering his ears, but the sound only echoed louder. There is no monster here. There is no monster out there. It's only you. No, it can't be. Suddenly he staggered forward. All the strength in his body was gone. In an instant he crumbled to the ground, twitching and convulsing. Move! His body would no longer respond. Every function gone. His brain was trapped in a husk, a casket. They had buried him alive. He would lie here and rot, watch himself rot. Hours and hours, helpless, insects and animals eating him, every scream silent. He deserved it. His punishment. The punishment they gave him. No. The punishment he'd given to himself. Oh, achievement unlocked, sense of acceptance. So the reason he is completely gone is because he died in the middle of the woods and like the stray animals and stuff would just eat his corpse. Esther suddenly gasped for air. Her lungs burned, her legs aged. Had she been running? How? How was that possible? Just a moment ago, she'd been reading Isaiah's journal. How had she gotten here? All of a sudden, hazy memories flooded back to her. A few minutes ago, no, hours ago, she had left Isaiah's study. Something had called out to her, a sudden, intense, overwhelming urge that she couldn't resist. A call to follow Isaiah, wasn't it? She needed to get away, to get out of the manor, away from her own thoughts. And so she tore down the stairs in a panic, nearly tripping over herself in her frantic need to flee. There was no sign of Sena as she ran across the manor grounds. She must have been in the cemetery. But Esther ran the opposite way, into the forest, the same deep woods she'd come from, throwing herself carelessly forward. Had she been fleeing all this time? Impossible. When she glanced up at the sky, the sun was just past its highest point. If that many hours had truly passed, then she had fled a decent way from the manor. Getting back would be a difficult task, especially since she'd initially found the place by sheer luck. She had no map, no compass. All she could do was try and strain her memory back several weeks prior and seek out any features she'd passed by. A ridiculous plan, certainly, but there were hardly any other options. Does she have the key on herself, though? Trying her best to keep her spirits up, Esther began wandering through the trees. She still felt slightly dazed, both from her lapse in consciousness and the events of the past 2 days. Early that morning, she thought she was fine. Not in the best of spirits, of course, but still prepared to make peace with it all and move on. And yet, somehow, her subconscious mind had grown so unsettled that she'd run away in a state, something that had never happened before. Were her real feelings truly that disturbed deep down? Had she been so upset by Sena's rejection that she fled the manor in an attack of anxiety? It was frustrating and embarrassing, to say the least, and she wanted to think of herself as far more resilient than that. But in the end, perhaps it was much more than just a friend throwing her away. Perhaps it was a confirmation of what she'd feared all along, that she was never meant to find what she truly longed for. What exactly it was that she longed for, Esther couldn't say for certain. All she knew was that Sena embodied it somehow. The more Esther dwelled on that idea, the more afraid she grew at the thought of seeing the other girl again. Maybe it was better if she didn't go back. After all, the sooner she could distance herself and start to recover, the better. And of course, she didn't want to hurt Sena or make things any more difficult for her. She'd already done so much for Esther, and he thought of straining her further, especially after last night, seemed unbearable. Leaving then would surely be the best choice, for both of them. No, I don't think that's a good idea. Suddenly Esther froze. A horrible thought struck out of nowhere, making her blood run cold. The watch. She didn't have the watch. Her medicine. With no way to tell where she was, she'd never be able to return to the road in time to call for help. But if she'd only gone a few hours from the manor, at least Esther knew she had a chance to make it back. There was no other choice. If she didn't retrieve it, she'd fall into a catatonic state as soon as her dose ran out. She had to find the manor again, and before nightfall. Otherwise, everything would be utterly for naught. It's the initial CG for the game again. When Esther began to walk again, her steps grew much more hurried. Nothing looked familiar, and yet somehow she still wondered if she hadn't seen it all before. She thought she remembered finding the manor in the east, in the opposite direction of the setting sun, but in the back of her mind she was starting to doubt if her own memory could truly be trusted any longer. Once more, Esther found herself completely lost in these vast, lonely woods. This time, she didn't even have her meager supplies with her, nor the comfort of knowing she could survive the night. In a way, she felt like she was trapped in a loop, reliving a twisted, more faithful version of her earlier journey. Afraid of finding the manor, even more terrified of not finding it, doing her best to believe that everything would be alright. As evening steadily crept closer, Esther encountered a little stream running along her path. At first her heart leapt, but then a flash of fear overtook her brief hope. Was it really the same stream she played in with Sena, or could it be a different one altogether? She didn't remember anything familiar about the spot, but maybe she followed it along, she'd encounter something else. The stream had flowed right to the stream had flowed to the right of where they stood on its bank, or had it? With the sense of growing, empty dread slowly building in her chest, Esther realized just how shapeless her memories and thoughts had become. Perhaps that was why everything seemed the same, and yet completely different, with no solid reality she could tether herself to. And at any moment, the dream could become a nightmare. I mean, you haven't met any wild animals yet, so that's something, right? Night had fallen. Excuse me. It arrived far, far too quickly, cloaking the forest in a thick darkness that made it even more deeply confusing. She'd been running for a while now. Her eyes darted around, trying to desperately glean any memories or points of interest that stirred in her mind, but nothing ever appeared. The stillness that surrounded her suddenly felt eerie beyond compare. She could hear the rustling of leaves, the crickets, the nocturnal creatures that skittered after prey or fled from predators. But she never saw them. Nothing moved. Everything looked the same, like a painting, an image frozen in time, never changing. as if she kept going down the same path over and over again. Uh-oh. As Esther dashed into another cluster of dark trees, a horrible, petrifying realization flashed before her. Isaiah's key. Shit. See, that's the thing. I wasn't sure if she kept the key or if she had given it away. She won't be able to find the manor if she doesn't have anything from it. She had given it to Sena. With the warding charm that protected the manor, that meant... No. No, please no. She wouldn't be able to go back. There was nothing. She had nothing of Isaiah's, no way to regain entry after leaving a protected space. How far did the ward's perimeter even reach? Was she only a few minutes away from the manor or miles? It didn't matter. She had no hope of reaching the road, even if she'd known where it was. No way of returning to the manor, except if she encountered Sena. But Esther had been gone all day. Surely Sena would have noticed her disappearance by now. If she'd been searching for Esther, they would have encountered each other after so many hours. Esther hadn't even strayed out far. Had she? No, she hadn't. She turned around and gone back the way she came. Good evening! Hi! Hello, how are you guys doing? How have you been? I'm good. I'm tired. I can feel my... That's nothing new. I'm always tired, but like... Oh, my eyes are closing on their own. How are you? Had she? No, she hadn't. She turned around and gone back the way she came. But what if she'd been running back towards the manor when she awoke? Desperately, frantically trying to get back, trying to find a way back in. And all this time she'd only been walking in hopeless circles, never getting closer or further away. Only the trees shifting while she remained in place. As she tried to curl her arms around herself for warmth, they seemed heavier than before, like they were being steadily filled with lead. Her flesh was still sensitive, but her muscles no longer responded like they usually did. A feeling as if she was trying to move a puppet with fraying strings. It was past the time for a dose. Uh-oh. She broke into a sprint. Each step grew more impossible than the last, and her body threatened to collapse from the strain at any moment. It was as horrifying as the doctor's warnings. No, worse, for nothing could describe the sense of all control slipping away. Stumbling forward, she barely managed to catch her balance, holding onto a tree for support as her legs seemed to be on the verge of giving away. No. I won't let it. Her fingernails stuck desperately into the crumbling bark. She couldn't let go. If she did, there'd be no getting back up again. She had to keep going. She had to keep looking. To fail like this. A loud thought occurred to her. It bled through her ears, growing, deafening her, drowning out everything else. Who was she really holding on for? At last her body could no longer support itself. She collapsed to the ground, whimpering, trying to push herself up again. But after one last desperate strain of arms and legs, she felt still. Even her eyes refused to move. Uh-oh. History might end before the game ends because you fall asleep. Oh, I hope I don't fall asleep. I'm trying very hard not to. Hello. How's it going? Good. I'm just tired. What about you? Hi. How y'all doing? Her gaze remained frozen, staring in terror up at the sky, no longer able to see what was going on around her. Panic flooded her entire system, making the world spin and turning her thoughts into fragments of fear. Suddenly she understood. She would die like Isaiah, alone, frozen in horror, feeling the cold grip of death squeezing her lungs, rotting while still breathing, forced to remain conscious as every faculty in her body broke down, praying for it all to end. Well, that sounds fun. Please end. Please make it stop. Please. 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 You're cooking nice. We're dying. Kind of. A distant cry echoed through her head. Something far away in the dark shifting among those unmoving trees. Maybe it was coming for her. Maybe it had been waiting for her to fall helpless. Again the sound cried out, closer this time. It was familiar somehow, like a dream. Like awakening from a dream. Esther. Esther? Esther! Esther! Esther, please! The voice, it belonged to Sena. She could hear footsteps in the distance, running, getting neither closer nor farther away. If only she could call out to her. But she couldn't. She was completely, totally helpless. Sena would pass her by, and forever believe that Esther had abandoned her. Had Isaiah endured this too? Had he heard his daughter calling for him running past just out of sight? Unable to cry, unable to scream, unable to reach out for help. Congratulations on claiming the haha first. Unable to do anything but wait. Esther! Esther, are you out there? She was so close. Soon she would pass by. Esther! Esther, please, please answer me. But instead of fading into the distance, the voice grew even closer. 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 Listen, I hate repetitions. I always feel so stupid saying the same thing like 3 times. Until... Esther. Oh no. A figure crashed to the ground beside her. Warm hands grasped her shoulders, then frantically pressed over her heart. Oh, Esther, you're still breathing. I'm so glad. I'm so glad too. Oh no. You can't move. Oh no. Your medicine, you don't have it. But there's no time. I can't risk running back for the watch. She heard Sena inhale a trembling breath, desperately trying to calm herself. Then, thin, wiry arms began to cradle her body, lifting her slowly upward. I can do it. I can. At first, Sena staggered to her feet as if her small figure couldn't handle Esther's weight. But then, as soon as she caught her balance, stumbling forward a few steps, she slowly began to run. Oh! I thought maybe she would try to get her on her back, making it easier for her to move, but carrying a human being like that? This girl is strong. I'll bring you back. Hold on, Esther. I promise you'll be alright. Her head rested against Sena's shoulder. It felt so warm, so comforting. Sena had come to save her. That was the only thing Esther could bring herself to care about. Whether or not they made it back to the manor in time, it didn't really matter anymore. The smaller girl gasped and panted with effort, but her pace never slowed. Her footsteps raced through the forest, so strong and so determined, never straying from their goal. She saw things Esther couldn't see. The hidden paths, the different trees, the stars that mapped the true direction. And for her, Isaiah's words relented. There were no circles, only a straight and unwavering line. Through the final trees, towards the clearing, into the mist that had once worn her away, into the manor she had tried to escape from. Finally! After dashing up the stairs with Esther still in her arms, Sena ran into the bedroom. As soon as she'd set the taller girl into the bed sheets, she grabbed Esther's watch from the nightstand, frantically grasping for its switch. Here! Your arm, the medicine? She pushed up Esther's sleeve, though her hands were shaking so much that she could barely hold the watch. With a deep breath, Sena steadied herself and pushed the needle into Esther's arm. The usual moment of relief never arrived, only the sudden wave of nausea. But slowly, steadily, a trace of energy began returning to her muscles. She squeezed her eyes shut and reopened them, blinking to try and relieve the raw, burning sensation. Death had grazed her so closely that she could feel it, an icy cold cloud still hovering across her skin. Esther? Is it working? Esther, please. Yes. Forcing out the word in a choked, hoarse voice, she tried to offer Sena a faint smile. Thank you. Esther. You're right. You're right. The tears that she'd been barely holding back suddenly began overflowing. Sobbing, Sena threw her arms around Esther, burying her face against the other girl's neck. As more of her strength gradually returned, she was able to drape her own arms around Sena. The intense shock made it difficult, if not impossible, for her to truly form any thoughts. All she could feel was an immense, overwhelming relief, a deep gratitude for every breath she took. I'm so sorry, so sorry. I don't want you to go. I never wanted you to go. Sena's tearful whimpers were soft and muffled. Esther could feel warm tears falling against her shoulder and the trembling exhales that followed each sob. I was just so sad thinking of Papa, but I don't want you to leave, Esther. Please, please don't. Please don't leave me. I won't. I promise I won't. Murmuring gently, she gave a tight squeeze of her arms around Sena, hoping to reassure her. There's still so much we have to do together, isn't there? Games, picnics, recipes, reading, exploring. I couldn't leave you before all that. She embraced her, wiped the tears and hushed her gently, cradling her smaller friend against her chest. But nothing she said or did seemed to comfort Sena. Her whole body kept shaking like a leaf, suddenly fragile and on the cusp of breaking. Esther was almost afraid to touch her. Still, she gingerly stroked her fingers through the soft blonde hair, holding her as she let out everything that had built up inside. Not just from that night, but ever since her father disappeared. No one had held her, no one had comforted her. No one had told her that everything would be alright, no matter how much it hurt at that moment. Esther desperately wished she could do more, that she could travel back in time to be there for Sena when nobody else was. At the very least, she could be here now. She could promise not to hurt her friend ever again. Don't make promises you can't keep. At last, Sena's trembling sobs and uneven breathing began to subside. From the way her chest rhythmically rose and fell, her body limply rested against Esther's. She knew Sena had fallen asleep. Running all the way home while carrying Esther must have left her exhausted. If not for her surge of fear and determination, there was no way she would have been able to lift a girl Esther's size for so long. And yet, somehow, Sena had still managed to save her. A crushing sense of guilt sank down in her stomach. If only she'd been more careful with her medicine, if she hadn't let herself get so distraught and irrational, she never would have caused Sena this kind of pain and worry. Esther had forced her to relive the night Isaiah disappeared, struck by the same fear and despair of being abandoned. And she too had been so close to meeting Isaiah's same fate, if Sena hadn't found her at the last moment. Swallowing hard to hold back her tears, Esther gently detached from Sena to pull herself up. She was too exhausted to change into her night clothes, but at least she could put both of them under the covers. Pulling the fluffy comforter up to the smaller girl's shoulders, she tucked her in tightly, which seemed to lessen Sena's trembling somewhat. In a way, she almost felt too guilty to hold her again. After hurting her so badly, did she really deserve to comfort Sena, to share her presence? No, Sena wanted her there. She still had to remind herself of that, even after everything that had happened. Guilt, doubt, shame, none of it mattered anymore. Sena had already made it clear how much she cared about Esther, and doubting her would be the same as rejecting her. Back in the forest, lying there in the darkness, she had given in to her fear of abandonment. But that was a mistake she refused to ever repeat. From now on, no matter what happened, she would trust Sena, her kind, dear, selfless companion. She would never let her down again. And somehow, she'd find a way to repay her. Good night, Sena. Sweet dreams. Whispering softly, she pressed a small kiss against the top of Sena's head. In response, the other girl made a soft sound in between a whimper and a sigh, curling up to Esther's side. When she closed her eyes, Esther felt a powerful exhaustion sweep over her, greater than perhaps any night before. Endless thoughts kept circling in her head, dreadful memories and ghosts of the fears she'd had while paralyzed facing her death. But the warm presence nestled up against her, fragile and vulnerable, and yet so strong and incredibly willful, soothed Esther's frayed nerves. Before long, she was slipping into a deep and dreamless sleep, completely removed from all the cares in the world, yet still holding on to her dearest companion who held her tightly in return. Whew! Okay. Stray leaves floated down the stream, slowly disappearing into darkness. He watched them pass by with a certain strange melancholy. The idea of leaving behind his research, those countless hours of experiments and reading, no longer bothered him. But moments like these, now that he was faced with losing them forever, the simplest pleasures of life suddenly seemed invaluable. Every morning in the garden, every thunderstorm on a spring day, every cup of tea and conversation at the table, every night clear enough to admire the constellations. He wished he'd appreciated them more. Up until now, he hadn't realized how much they meant to him, how many little joys he had never bothered savoring. If only he could have recognized it all earlier. So many things never showed their value until they were gone. His thin, trembling fingers brushed across the top of Sena's head. She was fast asleep, lying contentedly in his lap. He'd given her an astronomical lecture that night, but despite her best efforts to stay awake, she finally dozed off halfway through. I mean, what do you expect? She's a little girl. You certainly worked hard today, didn't you? I suppose you did inherit my ways after all. He murmured affectionately, unable to contain a smile, painful as it was. This was the last time they'd ever spent time together. He'd realized it earlier, but he forced himself to act as normal and unaffected as possible during the walk, despite the anguish he felt whenever he remembered. How quickly all these years had gone by. He had never imagined it would end like this. Since his escape from that fateful night, dark irrational feelings had begun creeping into the edges of his mind, growing stronger day by day. Fear and resentment with little substance behind them, distorted images of both himself and Sena, twisting them both into reprehensible monsters. It was the same bitterness he'd felt so long ago, back when they'd first moved here together. Sena became the personification of all his misfortune and woe, a symbol of life's mockery instead of his beloved, irreplaceable daughter. He slipped into such thoughts without realizing it, and only in the middle of the bleak, hateful fog would he suddenly come to himself again. Suffocated by his growing paranoia and anxiety, these lucid moments were steadily withering away. Now he had to shut himself in his study most of the day, never knowing when a wave of delusions would seize him. No longer could he freely spend his days working with Sena, for he constantly feared what those venomous shadows would make him say to her. The whispers had become so frequent that soon he knew they would overtake his mind completely. But tonight, summoning the last of his strength, he had offered to take on a walk by the stream, determined to spend one last, quiet evening together. How overjoyed she had been! She believed he was finally getting better again, and soon life would return to how it once was. Was it crueler to lie to her, or to tell her that he was dying? He kept agonizing over the decision, which seemed to have no right answer. I'll tell her tomorrow, he always thought. But whenever a new morning arrived, and she was so thrilled to see him outside of his room again, his will kept faltering. I mean, to be fair, like, he's trying to keep going by saying, oh, I'll tell her tomorrow, and then he lives for yet another day. That's good, actually. But there's a limit to how long you can do the whole, oh, I'll keep going. I'll just try a little more, just one more day. He wished he could have seen her grow up. She already resembled her mother so much. No doubt she'd be her spitting image as an adult. In a clear part of his mind, he no longer felt bitterly towards Amaranthe. Even if she rejected the life of her mother, and even if her disappearance had led him to such despair, she had still given him Sena. Somehow, somewhere, he hoped she could find happiness. She deserved a life better than whatever he could have offered, just like Sena did. Moving slowly to avoid disturbing her, Isaiah rose to his feet, holding Sena closely against his chest. In a way, he was relieved she'd fallen asleep. He didn't think he could bear bidding goodnight to her, knowing it would be the final time. But goodbyes were for the benefit of the living, not the dead. The memory would soon be hers and only hers. Even knowing that, he still couldn't bring himself to disturb her peaceful rest. Perhaps she would forgive him this one last selfish act. But how did he lose the key? Turning towards the manor, he began the journey home with slow, lingering steps. He could sense a storm gradually approaching. Heavy rain was on its way, the type that would blanket the manor for a long, gloomy day. But once the storm lifted, the fragile blooms of spring would flourish in its wake. Over and over again, year after year. No matter what befell them, they would always come back. Oh. Clink clonk. A soft clatter, followed by an even softer gasp, stirred Esther from the edge of sleep. As her eyes slowly stirred open, she saw a blurry figure standing beside the bed, fiddling with something on the nightstand. After blinking a few times, she was able to make out Sena's face, a pair of bright eyes flicking towards her sheepishly, matched by an embarrassed smile. I woke you up after all. And after I tried so hard to be quiet, oh well, can't be helped, I suppose. It's fine. I should get up anyway. But as she struggled to lift herself upright, Esther found she could barely move without immense, overwhelming effort. Oddly enough, it seemed different from her typical mornings of lethargy. Instead, she had the same feeling she'd had after her first day of work with Sena, a deep exhaustion from straining herself so much in a way she wasn't used to. It was a much stronger sensation, but not unpleasant. It felt almost cathartic, instead like the satisfaction of pushing to one's limits. Oh, thank you for the hydrotang. I don't think I can agree with you on that one, Esther. What you should do is rest. Real rest, not work disguised as rest. Shouldn't you be the one resting? After everything you did last night. A faint blush rose to Sena's cheeks. Her gaze fell somberly to the floor. She seemed unable to reply for several moments, clenching the hem of her dress between her fingers. I rested plenty. Don't worry about me, please. Something about her reassuring words sounded almost pleading, as if the last thing she wanted was for Esther to be concerned. Sitting down on the bedspread, Sena sighed quietly. The tension had broken between them, but it was impossible to ignore the difficult, unspoken questions that were left behind. I'm sorry, Esther, for everything. What I said last night about not leaving me. I know you need to go home. If Papa was here, he'd probably be really happy about that idea too. And I know I can't go with you because this is my world. Maybe one day I could travel somewhere else, but I can't. Not just yet. Howdy, room. Good evening. The manor, the grounds, the forest. Taking care of this place is the only way I have left to keep Papa's memory alive. If I abandoned it now, I'd never be able to forgive myself. I'd feel haunted forever. But I'm selfish. I don't want you to go because I miss you. I miss you so much, Esther. I can't even tell you how I felt when I thought you'd left me. She put on a small, self-deprecating smile as she spoke, each word sounding as heavy as lead. Lead? Sena's confession brought her more sadness than it did joy. The one-sided pain of separation was something she could deal with, but knowing that Sena would miss her just as much, that seemed far more unbearable. I know, hi! Good evening! How you all doing? Welcome to Depression, the visual novel. I'm good as well, thank you. I'm just a tad tired, but that's nothing new. Glad to hear you're good. Turning her head slowly away from Sena, she gazed out through the window into the radiant sunlight that glimmered more brightly with each passing moment. This place, it feels like another home to me. Even if it's only been a few weeks, I would never forget the time I spent here. It's probably silly and I don't really understand why, but working together, playing together, reading together, I think those moments were the happiest ones I've ever had. I could always be myself around you, Sena. You don't know how happy that made me. And when I think about going back to a world where I have to act like everyone else, I wish I could pretend it didn't exist. But you're right. I can't stay here forever. Her eyes slowly drifted back towards Sena. My medicine will run out soon. If there's no real cure for the pale, then I have to return to the city, to my family. I promised them. As Sena studied her in silence, her posture drooped slightly, like a wilting flower deprived of water or light. The somber, lonely weight in her expression drew Esther's mind back to that night by the pond when Sena had spoken of her father's decline. Esther, I mean, when you leave... She lowered her head slightly, biting her lip. Would you ever come back? Thank you for the short hair reading. Of course I would. I don't know when, but... Then I'll wait for you. Sena's quiet reply interrupted her. New haircut. She looked up to see the other girl gazing at her with fierce determination. No matter how long you're gone, I'll really wait for you, I promise. Even if we're apart for years and years, I'll always be here to welcome you back. I don't care how long it takes or how different you might be or if you only walk by to wave at me before moving on. As long as I know I'll see you again someday, that's all that matters. Yeah, this game is not gonna have a happy ending, huh? She didn't understand why, but beyond any shadow of a doubt, she knew they would meet again. It's a promise then. I'll come back. If you don't, I'll be really cross with you. Really. Leaning forward, Esther curled her arms around the smaller girl, pulling her into a gentle hug. Sena snuggled tightly against her, the faint warmth of her teardrops soaking into Esther's blouse. I mean, first you have to actually get better, so you're actually able to move out of bed again, though, if you want to go back to the city. For a long time, they held each other in silence. It felt solemn and bittersweet, as if they were already saying farewell, even though it would surely be a while longer before Esther left. But in that moment, they finally understood each other. Their promise was sealed, forever set in stone by the shared determined belief in it. A belief that would never, ever waver, no matter what. Not until the very end of time. This feels very final, but I don't trust this game. Finally, they pulled away slightly, sitting before one another, clasping each other's hands. Something seemed different about Sena. There was a deep resolve in her eyes, hidden behind the gentle way she gazed at Esther. I have a silly question for you, Esther. If you were cured of the what's the first thing you think you'd do? Break my watch, I think. It stopped me one too many times. After a short pause, Sena giggled softly, shaking her head. I can understand that. I know it's a funny thing to ask. I was just curious. For whatever reason, Esther's reply seemed to have made her happy. Well, I think you ought to eat a bit of breakfast and get some more sleep. I left your favorites on a nightstand. The tea's probably gotten cold by now, though. I think I'll survive. I hope so. You deserve better than to perish from cold tea, really. If you need me, I'll be out in the garden or downstairs. But I'll see you later, alright? She nodded. No matter how little time they had left together, it still brought her such relief to have things back to normal. I wonder if Sena checked out the study in more detail and actually found something. Why would she only suddenly ask us now what we would do if we were cured? We've been here for weeks. Oh, thank you for the posture check. That's a good one. Good one. Once Sena had hopped off the bed and left the room with a cheery wave, Esther pulled over her tray of breakfast. She hadn't realized it until now, but she was ravenously hungry. So much that her stomach actually hurt a little when she began to eat. Those fingers are really popping off today. Afterwards, a sense of drowsy contentment settled over her, drawing her towards the tempting arms of sleep. She yearned to go outside and work with Sena, not wanting to waste her remaining time in the forest, but her body still felt too weak. Without more rest, she likely wouldn't even be able to get downstairs. Reluctantly, she curled back beneath the bed sheets, turning away from the bright sunlight. Just a short rest, that was all she needed. Afterwards, she'd go back to the study and try to search through the remaining papers. Perhaps there was still something left. One last secret for her to uncover. I hope you won't have another nightmare. So dark. When her eyelids slowly struggled open, it felt like her whole head was in a fog. She could glimpse a trace of moonlight from the window. Had she really slept through the whole day? Her body must have been even weaker than she thought it was. Slowly, Esther attempted to pull herself up to her feet. Her legs were still a little unsteady, but she felt far better than she had before. Sena was probably waiting for her downstairs. Perhaps Esther could still make it in time to help her friend with dinner. Just as she was about to make her way towards the bedroom door, something strange suddenly caught Esther's eye. A pile of papers resting on a nightstand. They hadn't been there before. At first she thought it might have been something Sena wrote, but when she looked more closely at the scribbled handwriting... Uh-oh. These pages. They were the missing part of Isaiah's treatise on the Arafel. When had Sena found them? Her confusion and shock were soon consumed by desperate curiosity. After hastily lighting a candle, she leaned over the nightstand and began to read. Uh-oh. A new willing host. She's gonna take over all of our sickness. It's gonna be like, hee hee. I cure you. The environment must also be suitable. In this case, an area that attracts a large number of Arafel due to the concentrated essences of either the living or the dead. If the current sufferer and another unafflicted human are brought together in such a place, and the new host accepts the entirety of the sufferer's burden onto themselves, the pain will lift, and all of the Arafel will be drawn to the emotional energy within the new host's body. The effects of the transfer are impossible to fully predict, but in the majority of cases, the host will no longer be able to function. There is only one other cure that I can ascertain for this mysterious relentless Aemon. I will refer to it as the ascension of the afflicted, the progress of the body into something that can live in harmony with the Arafel. This has occurred with breathtaking rarity, yet for those who did ascend, they were destined to become unforgettable and beloved figures in all ages to come. To the best of my knowledge, there is no singular way for ascension to occur. In fact, the ways are infinite. That is precisely why this method is nigh unachievable, for we cannot possibly say what defines it. For some it was a sudden flash of clarity beyond the fabric of our universe. For others it struck them after endless meditation, study and pilgrimages of both mind and body. And for a select few, it came from only long, fathomless, inescapable solitude. Would she take on my dad? Listen, she's like, what? She's like 12? Also, thank you for the pen and the hiding time. We humans have not yet evolved to the stage of consciously achieving such a cure, and for now it remains beyond our realm of comprehension. Indeed, perhaps the Arafel were never meant to be understood by us. If that is the case, then no amount of scientific research will ever obtain a true cure for the Pale. However, I believe a singularity lies at the end of the arcane, primordial path. All who have learned to walk hand in hand with these spirits speak of a final destination, a last door, an end that leads into a new beginning. A place that Arafel would lead us all, but in our weakness, we mistake the guidance for twisted malice. What lies at the end of the path, the languages of speech, art, and mathematics will never reveal, for ultimately it spans beyond what thoughts and knowledge our limited minds may yet contain. All we can surmise is that there, and only there, at the threshold of this mortal world and all the unseen dimensions beyond it, the pale Cachexia becomes a gateway of transformation for the very soul itself. The fucking what? Transferring the Pale, or ascending, both seem virtually impossible, albeit for different reasons. Was that really all he had written? The only possible cures? If so, then... To her surprise, there was another piece of paper attached to Isaiah's writings. The ink still looked fresh. A note from Sena. Uh-oh. An ominous pressure welled in her chest. Esther tried to force it back, but as she held up Sena's notes to the candlelight, her hands began to shake slightly. Uh-oh. I keep saying uh-oh. Oh no. Dear Esther, I hope you can forgive me. A few days ago I found these papers and have been hiding them in my wardrobe ever since. I was afraid you'd leave as soon as you found them, but even more than that, I felt so guilty. Guilty for being too afraid to help you. Guilty for knowing what Papa would think too. Until last night. I never realized how important you were to me until you left. When I found you lying in the forest and I thought you were dead. You looked like a corpse even though you were still breathing. I don't want to see you like that ever again. I think I'd go insane if I did. So I've made up my mind. I promised that I'd help you no matter what. And if Papa was right, if the Arafel truly are real, then I can help you after all. You deserve happiness, Esther. Uh-oh. You have people back in the city waiting for you, and once you're cured, you'll be able to live a normal life again. And I'm not afraid anymore. If there's a chance I could cure you forever, I'll do anything. Anything at all. When you're ready, come meet me in the place we promised to go together. I don't know what will happen or if it will even work, but I want to try. Please don't be too angry with me. I only want to make you happy. Uh-oh. Cool, and that was his trigger. We steal all your money if you triggered it. When you had no money, nothing happened. You were negative. They take all of your debt and set you back at 0. That's funny. It's like, oh, you're already in debt. I'm gonna set you back to 0. The note fell from her fingers. For a moment she stood there completely stunned, at a loss for how to process everything and respond. Did she want to transfer the illness to herself? Yeah. I think she made it quite obvious what she meant to do. Impossible. Esther would never agree to such a thing. But what if she was already in the mausoleum? The Arafel, they were down there. From Isaiah's writings and her own dreams, she knew they were there. If they latched on to Sena in the same way they had to her father, was she already lying down there alone in the dark, paralyzed? Maybe. There was no other choice. She had to go down there, down into the mausoleum. She had to stop her friend's attempt to cure her. Sena's life was a trait she would never, ever accept. Esther dashed down the stairs so quickly her feet barely touched the floor. Within a few moments she was outside, racing across the manor grounds at a frantic sprint. She didn't even feel the sting of exertion in her lungs, nor the impact on her legs. She couldn't feel anything at all. Only a sinking, helpless fear. Why? Why was Sena doing this? She must have known that Esther would never would have willingly agreed to it. But why would she risk her own life and happiness? Didn't she realize how devastated Esther would be if anything happened to her? It was so rash, so naive, such a horribly reckless thing to do. And what would happen if it actually worked? Well, one of you guys is probably gonna die. A few minutes later, she dashed into the graveyard, pushing through the underbrush in desperate panic. There, facing her from across the cemetery, the mausoleum door stood open, waiting. But instead of calling out to her with that same golden glow from her dream, she felt a primal sense of revulsion and fear, as if every bone in her body was begging for her to turn away. What if they both end up ill? Wouldn't that be fun? As she approached the gaping stone maw, dread crept through her with a sickening chill. It took the entirety of her willpower to force her body forwards, each step more difficult than the last. When she finally crossed the threshold and her uneven paces echoed coldly around her, she wondered if she would ever make it back again. Oh boy. At the bottom of those long winding stairs, the crypt opened up before her. Why can I not just write crypt all the time? Listen, I would have a fucking problem pronouncing it if I could just say crypt. If I could just say crypt, I would not have this fucking problem. But no, they're like, oh, say mausoleum and fuck it up. Also, hi, hi, Leah. Good evening. How are you? It looked identical to the one Esther had seen in her dream, only colder and more oppressive, lacking any of the strange sense of comfort she'd felt. In your case, it'd be a mausoleum. Oh! Aha, I see. The other copyrighted mouse.
Beka beka. Beka.
He needs at least one word that gives you trouble. Yeah. I speak proper English. I have the necessary qualifications and everything that would allow me to pretend to be almost a native speaker, yet these are the things that give me trouble. Isn't that fun? At least I have it on a piece of paper that I apparently speak English of C2 quality, or should technically be able to communicate and write, but no. Thank you for the curse nannery. Oh, that's fitting for what we're about to yabba dabba do. Sena, she sounded so frail, but she was terrified. Terrified of what might hear her. Terrified of what she might... That's not... Who wrote this? Terrified of what she might be waiting around the corner? Summoning all of her courage, Esther began to walk down the long dark corridor, past rows and rows of tombs, opened and unopened, separated by the tall statues that washed over them. She paid no attention to her path, where she'd come from, or how she'd make her way out again. All she could think about was how Sena would be when she found her. Alive? Dead? Infected? In the note she had said, Esther had looked like a corpse. Would she have to see Sena like that too? As she rounded the next corner, her foot suddenly hit something. When she hesitantly bent down to pick it up, her fingers brushed against a dusty, soft material. A stuffed white toy. A cat? The one her father lost that night when he ran through here all crazy. Oh no. What was it doing here? Surely it must have been Sena's. Perhaps it was a sign that she was getting close. Mm. Clinging desperately to that hope, she broke into a sprint. One last chance. Turn back. When those unbidden words rose in her head, Esther forced them away. She wouldn't turn back. No matter what, she would never turn back. If they were truly in her head, then they would understand why. Dun 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 dun. At last, she came to a sudden halt. There, curled up on the ground beside a casket, she fell to her knees. Esther, you finally came. Her eyes slowly opened and she gave Esther a small, gentle smile. As she reached out for Sena with a trembling hand, Esther felt something right behind her. Suddenly, it felt like she was floating, as if an indescribable weight had lifted from her shoulders, leaving her body as light as a feather. The constant strain on her muscles was gone. The burden on her voice, the heaviness in her chest vanished altogether. She remembered this feeling. She had been so young then, always so happy. Why did my chat die? The fuck? The hell? Slowly, the dark, cold walls and floors around her dissolved into nothingness. Sena, please. As she shook the other girl in her arms, staring at her face in slowly dawning terror, she realized that Sena wasn't truly unconscious. She had simply gone limp, resting in Esther's arms with eerie stillness like a ragdoll. Her features were composed in a calm, nearly blank expression, like a funeral mask, beautiful and reserved. But the faint trace of a smile still lingered on her lips. Underneath her eyelids, not fully closed, Esther could see a glimmer of grey. No, this wasn't supposed to happen. You can't have it. I won't let you have it. I won't, Sena. Sena! Her anguished, frustrated scream echoed all around them, but Sena showed no response. Please take me instead. I'll give you all of it, everything I have. Just let Sena go. Don't make her suffer. I won't let her suffer. I won't let you, Sena. I won't. She repeated those words over and over again, begging and pleading in between soft, hoarse sobs. She didn't want to be cured like this. She would rather live with the pain forever. She would live with it forever. If only they would bring Sena back. I mean, if Sena sends, all is well. And then, an enormous darkness crashed down over her. Powerful, suffocating, pushing her down, 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 far past the depths of consciousness. She could feel herself sinking, detaching from her body, from her very soul, becoming nothing more than a thought, a tiny fragment of existence, floating away from the world, from any sense of herself. At first, it terrified her. Was she dying or already dead? Would she be trapped forever in a sea of nothing, in the sense of nothingness? But slowly her fears began to wane. In a moment, or perhaps an eternity, she realized she wasn't being destroyed at all. She was being separated, taken apart like a broken watch, hoping to be put together again someday. Dissolved into her essential parts, the indivisible atoms of consciousness, so that she could be remade. Perhaps it was the Arafel who were unraveling her, deconstructing her as a reward for a complete surrender. Strangely enough, she trusted them. She knew, somehow, that they were taking her somewhere very, very important. It brought her such relief that she wished she could cry, though without a body she had nothing to shed her tears with. At last, just before her awareness of everything vanished completely, she felt happy. Happy and yet lonely. Strangely lonely. Alone for a very, very, very long time. But perhaps that was alright. What's going on? It's a room. Don't kill my chat. Don't do that. There was so much to do today. Planting, weeding, cleaning, researching, cooking. The list of chores always seemed to grow more daunting around this time of year. It made sense after all. Spring was the season where everything had to be set in motion for the upcoming months. But despite the daunting prospect of such preparations, something about the cool, light breeze felt so reinvigorating. It seemed to promise a fresh start, a chance for something new and exciting right around the next corner. Leaving all the ills and mistakes of the past behind, taking the knowledge from old failures to create something new, something that would flourish in the fertile soil left behind. No matter how jaded and cynical one grew, it was impossible not to look on with just a little hope, clinging to the tiniest chance that this time things would be different. And something beautiful would finally bear fruit. Oh!
Papa?
Stirred from his thoughts, he glanced down to the small figure walking beside him. She'd been tugging his arm gently to get his attention, but he hadn't noticed up until now.
Could I ask you something, Papa? Please?
Yes, unless it's about your biology lessons. I won't allow you to weasel your way out of completing that last chapter like you managed to yesterday.
No, I finished it today, I promise. But I wanted to ask about something else.
Go ahead then. Sena fell unusually silent, her gaze drifting down to the forest floor. Such behavior from her was so rare that Isaiah's brows arched in uncertain anticipation.
Papa, will I ever have a friend someday?
A friend? She nodded shyly, hesitating for a few moments before continuing.
I love you, Papa. You know I really, really do, but I wish I had a friend. Someone else like me. All the storybook people have such lovely friends. They go on adventures and have long talks and cheer each other up when they're sad. It makes me so lonely when I read about them.
This was not a discussion he particularly wanted to have. He had talked about this with her many, many times already. Strangers would never bring anything good or fruitful into her life. The temporary excitement would always fade, and eventually only troubles and turmoil would remain in its wake. He was about to sternly remind Sane of such a thing before she got any more fanciful ideas about adventures and shallow conversations. But when he looked down at her face and saw a soft, familiar wistfulness gazing back at him in her eyes, something fractured in his heart. Finally, with a long sigh of defeat, he halted mid-stride and turned to face her. Sena eagerly peered back up at him, hugging her stuffed cat against her chest while she waited for his reply. If you should ever have a friend, you ought to love them like your life depends on it. Friendship is not something to be taken lightly. You cannot befriend anyone just because they treat you nicely or perform a few paltry favors for you here and there. How many of his own friendships had been built on such things? Most of them, surely. That was why they had all eventually frayed and fallen apart. Except for Jeremiah. Sometimes the man could listen so quietly and patiently, Isaiah wondered if he wasn't just a figment of his imagination. Friendship, love, means trusting someone fully, treasuring them, trying to understand them, caring for their happiness like you care for your own, if not more so. You must believe in them, believe the best of them always, and they must offer you the same support as far as you both can carry each other. It is hard. It is a hard, heavy responsibility to bear on one's shoulders, Sena. If two people do not share it equally, one will be crushed beneath its weight. She somberly nodded. It seemed like she was intently absorbing his every word, committing it deeply in her memory. With a true friend, you share each other's sorrow and delight, and when one of you falls, the other is there to help them back to their feet. No sacrifice is too great. A friend's pain, a friend's life, becomes an extension of one's own. And only when the depth of that selfless loyalty is returned, when it is truly mutual to the bottom of the soul, then, and only then, are two people joined in a way that can never be broken. Do you understand, Sena?
I do, Papa.
Sena nodded again, her features clouded by an unusually sober expression. She'd been asking about the subject quite frequently as of late. He'd need to have a proper, serious conversation with her soon, a lecture about how the isolation was for her own good, and how any relationship in the real world would never match the perfect bond seen in fiction. But right now, he couldn't bring himself to say anything more. He knew that pressing it further would hurt her feelings at the very least, and most likely result in some kind of quarrel. Certainly not the type of thing he wanted to ruin a peaceful spring morning with. That is all I will say on the subject for the moment. You'd be wise to ruminate on my words before we speak of it again. Reaching out, he grasped her tiny hand firmly in his own. She stayed contemplatively silent, but still offered him a small, affectionate smile. Together they set out once more, their footsteps lightly crunching in the grass. For some reason, a strange sadness now weighed down Isaiah's heart. Despite himself, he couldn't help but envision Sena running through a vibrant patch of flowers, followed by another girl, one calm and patient enough to balance out his daughter's endless energy. Perhaps they would laugh and talk and cry and share the deepest thoughts with one another. An honest, gentle bond that could never be strained by judgment or betrayal or selfish misdeeds. But something so pure and loving, something that might remain untainted by all the sorrows and cares of the declining world it resided in. Surely it could never, ever truly exist. If only you knew! Oh. The fuzzy cloud of her daydream slowly disappeared. She'd gotten lost in her memories again. It happened quite often these days, although she didn't mind. There were so many good memories stored away, like beautiful books in a library. It would be a shame not to pull them out and admire them now and then. After all, it would be so very lonely without them. Drawing back from the window, she slowly turned towards the old canopy bed. Lying there, so perfectly serene and peaceful, the ever-sleeping figure of her beautiful friend. Oh no. Her chest slowly rose and fell with the same unchanging breaths, a constant rhythm. But she never once had Why is it towards the end of the game that there seem to be a great many typos and stuff? She never once had opened her eyes. So what happened? 6 years had passed since that night. There were no words for how Sena felt once she realized what she'd done. In trying to cure Esther, she'd pushed her into a deep coma, one from which there seemed to be no awakening. At first, Sena was beyond terrified. She didn't know how she could possibly care for Esther while she was in such a state. But after she carried her friend back to the manor and stayed by his side for many painful days and nights, she realized something impossible had happened. Esther's body had gone into a strange, incredible stasis, requiring no food or drink. The very fundamentals of her biology had changed. And yet, for some unknowable reason, she continued to grow and age normally. It was as if the spirits themselves were sustaining her somehow. Or perhaps as if she was living in a different world altogether, even though her body remained mirrored in this one. After she had cried all the tears she possibly could, and finally managed to control the guilt and anguish that plagued her, Sena slowly began to adapt again. She decided she would go on living and caring for Esther, waiting for her eventual awakening. The other girl's deep slumber was a constant reminder of her mistake, even though she didn't think Esther would have ever blamed her. Sena dreamt that she would wake up with that wry, playful smile of hers and disarm every apology with a calm shake of her head. After such a long sleep, though, hopefully she would still remember all the time they'd spent together and wouldn't look upon Sena as a stranger once more. But the more she studied her friend's peaceful face, the more Sena began to wonder something. She didn't really know if Esther was fully asleep. Perhaps part of her was still conscious. If that was the case, then it would be terribly lonely and quiet in the darkness. Most likely she was far away in a dream, or in another place entirely. But just in case, Sena decided to always keep her company. Thank you for the pat. After a few days of tinkering with a chair and an old wheelbarrow, she'd managed to create a sturdy wheelchair that could easily handle the forest floor. Now, while she walked in the garden and the graveyard, Sena could take Esther along with her. As strange as it felt at first, she eventually began to chat away just like before, describing the birds, the trees, the colors of the changing seasons. She would tell Esther how much she'd missed her, how excited she was to play and work together again, reminding her of the promise and how cross she'd be if Esther never came back. Sometimes a part of her wondered if she wasn't just going mad and all of her efforts were utterly for naught, but if there was only the tiniest, faintest chance that Esther could hear her, that one day she'd open her eyes and smile again, sharing the same memories of these long, quiet years, then she would keep tending to her friend until the very end of their days.
Okay, thank you for coming by. Have a great day.
Oh. Oh, her hair's gotten long. Settling down on the bed, she delicately cupped her palm against Esther's cheek. Warm, just like always, and her eyes so lightly closed as if they might flutter open at any moment.
It's another beautiful day, Esther. I'll pick some flowers for your hair today, I think.
A tiny, gentle smile traced over Zaina's lips. If Esther could really hear her, Zaina thought she might like that idea. Even if she wouldn't be able to see the flowers, she might feel their gentle weight on her head or breathe in their fresh scent. And most importantly, she would know Zaina was still with her, waiting for her to wake up. If you were cured of the pale, what's the first thing you think you'd do? Break my watch, I think. It stabbed me one too many times. With her friend's words always echoing in her mind, Zaina kept Esther's watch with her wherever she went. So many times she dreamt of seeing Esther suddenly open her eyes before hurling her much-despised medicine onto the ground. Even if the crash that startled Zaina awake was an imaginary one, it sounded so vivid, so real and clear that it almost felt like a premonition instead of a dream.
Let's go then, shall we? The sun's getting bright and warm again, so I'll make sure to keep you in the shade. Maybe we'll stop by the stream too. I remember not to lose my ribbon this time.
She murmured softly to Esther, pausing a few moments. A reply never came, but that didn't dishearten her or make her doubt what she knew to be true. She would keep her promise. She would wait for Esther to return. Perhaps it would be today, or tomorrow, or 20 years in the future. Perhaps it would be in another life altogether. No matter how long it took, Zaina would always be there, waiting to welcome Esther back. As long as she always believed in it and never lost faith in their eternal promise. Then, one day, they would be together again. Achievement unlocked, tearing down the walls of eternity. Okay. Ouch. Ouch. I mean, yeah, I guess the game did in fact not have a, well, happy ending. Thank you for the pat. And thank you for the hydration. It's really a small project, kind of. Like a small team that assembled this project. I absolutely adore the art style though. Interesting story. Sad story though. Special things, Cinerisomnia. Cinerisomnia is a game. A game I own. A game I've not gotten to playing because it's a horror game that has, well, it's mostly also atmospheric, but according to the Steam guides for completion, thank you for playing, no, thank you for writing such a lovely game. According to the Steam guides, it has some scenes where you have to run away like something is following you and you can die in the game, and then you get reset and you have to try again, which is what's been keeping me from trying out the game. Okay, what's in the extras? Oh, just all of the CGs. Okay, nothing. Music, and the credits is just the video again. Okay. What does it say here? Ah, right, the team behind us. A 2-person dev team working on visual novels and other story-driven games. I don't think I own any other games of theirs. I think this is the only one I have. But that was a lovely game. Holy shit. Let me see something real quick. Pale. I can type. They have a few more games out for sure. I do not know any of them though. No. Games. No, wait. Red and Praise Hollywood actually sounds like something I should know. It sounds familiar enough. But I do not know any of the other games. But if all of the games are as good as this one, that's nice. That's really nice. Also, this game, it regional pricing, but it costs like €5 for me. So I'm guessing it's around like $5 for other people as well. And you know, for €5, such a lovely game. That's a steal. It's also unfortunate because I thought to myself, okay, maybe it'll be like around 2 more hours. What do I do now? we finished the game. What do I do now? I did not plan ahead. I did not think of what game I would start after this one. I have to admit, wasn't quite sure what to play. Well, I do know one game. We could do, I think. Let's try that actually. I just have to install it real quick. That's fine. That's perfect. It's like, oh yeah, okay. What we're gonna do today, we're gonna install the game. Excuse me. To actually play it on stream immediately after. No, we go sleep early. No, why would you say that? We will not go sleep early. We will not go sleep early. It's only 8. We still have some time. We still have some time. Let me see if I can make this work. Please don't blast my ears off, game. Okay, let's see. We're gonna close this one. Wow! And then we're gonna cry because it's one of those games where if you tap out, your entire screen just goes lovely. Is this my game? No, that doesn't see. Oh my god. Maybe we will actually not play this game because it's fucking up my screen really badly. You know, I have this problem. have this problem with my screen. It's like when I open something in full screen, especially when it's when I'm watching something on Netflix in my browser, and Netflix is like, okay, well, I'll switch over to a new episode. My entire screen goes black for a second, and then flickers back to live, and it's like, oh, okay, you're still connected with HDMI. Here you go, which doesn't make sense. Which doesn't make sense. Also, I like that the game is not showing up at all. That's cool. That's great. I'm a very big fan of that happening. We had this problem before when I wanted to switch games, and no matter what I did, it just wouldn't show the other game on stream. I guess that's what I get for trying to play a game real quickly. Hey hey ho ho. Me. Let's try my other last resort then. Kids go to bed at 8, not so early at all. That's true. I don't remember for how long I went to bed at that point in time. Like 8 p.m. is a good time to send children to bed, I guess. It's just, I don't want to stop the stream before we hit at least 2 hours. Though, to be fair, I could also just keep talking. I could also just keep talking for a little while longer and be like, haha, we hit 2 hours, goodbye. But I hate doing that. Also, I think my computer is just dying on me right now. Like nothing's doing anything anymore. Not even a task manager is opening. This is great. This is lovely. I love it here. It's like, come on. How dare I try to do something? How dare I try to play games? Why ever would I think that was something I'm allowed to do? Dun, dun, da, 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 dun, dun. Da, 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 dun. Okay, one more try if I can make it work. Otherwise, I guess I'll have to accept that I can't keep going today. God damn it. It's not like we don't have enough games to choose from. That's not the problem at all. I have many games. Okay, one more try. 1 second. One more try. And it's dying again. Okay. Come on. You can do it. I believe in you. Show up on stream. I'm begging. Please. Hi, Ichi. Thank you for the posture tag. For the posture tag. Thank you for the posture tag. Hi, Dad. Hi. Nothing's working. Everything is dying. Let me see if switching the screen will help. Kavoosh. No. Did in fact not help. Why not? Why is that? Capture specific window. This one. Okay. I love OBS. OBS works just fine all the time. It's a good program. Very lovely to stream with, actually. But for some reason, not for me today. Guess I'm not allowed to stream today. I'll at least, you know what? I'll at least put some music. I feel stupid talking without any music in the background. Ah! This sucks. I know you can hear the sounds. Like the sounds are working, but it's not showing up at all. Nope. Oh, that's so stupid. I guess there goes that plan. I don't know why it does that though sometimes. We have definitely, we switched games in the middle of a stream before. I've switched what programs I have open. It's not like it's a hard thing to do. OBS just like, hey hey, ho ho, fuck you. Fuck you in particular, right now. Well, to be fair, there's nothing I can really do there. I guess I'll just have to deal with the fact that this is a very short stream then. At least we streamed the game yesterday, so we could like finish it up today completely. So that's nice, but still feels a little meh. But hey, I'll take it. I'll take it. You know what we're gonna do then? You know what we're gonna do then? I'm gonna send you guys over. This feels weird with the empty screen. I'm gonna send you guys over to Hull, who's doing a rating stream right now for another new sibling. So funny, the whole thank you for the pad. The whole, oh, this person did my art, or this person did the rigging, blah blah blah, and referring to them as parents, thus making other models like your siblings. That's so much fun. I'm a big fan. It's like suddenly I am not an only child anymore. Suddenly I'm not an only child anymore, which I find really, really sweet. Because in real life I am in fact an only child. I do not have siblings, so. It's like if you grew up with siblings, I feel like there's always this, oh, you know, sometimes they get on your nerves, but you would never truly want to be without them, right? And then people who grow up without siblings, like I went through a very, very short phase in my childhood was like, oh, I wish I had a sibling. And then like right after I like came to that conclusion of being like, oh, I want a sibling, I was like, wait, if I had a sibling, I'd have to share all of my stuff. I'd have to share my room, I'd have to share my toys, I'd have to share everything. I was like, oh, I don't want a sibling anymore. And that was that. It was like, in the matter of like a day, in the morning I was like, siblings. People I know in school have siblings. Siblings? No, I have to share. Really weird though when you manage to become the sibling of someone you look up to. That's true. Like the whole family situation with VTubers seems to be a little. I like it though. It's fun. But yeah, you know what? No! 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 Welcome. evening. Thank you so much for the fun. Hi, I'm Nua. I like the color pink and the visual novels and JRPGs, and we just finished our game and I was trying to open another game, but OBS is being an ass and not opening the game. Like, it won't show up no matter what they do. But also, of course, Pikachu for the Raiders. Hi everyone, 1 second.
Pikachu. Pika. Pikachu.
I'm sorry, this seems like it has to be the most unfortunate timing for Ray yet. But thank you guys so much for coming over, and thank you so much for the raid and for the follows. Also, thank you for the posture check. Ow! I'm so sorry. Like, I wanted gorilla stream. Yeah, kinda. Do a little dance. I wanted to do a short little game that's like has an hour of playtime or something, but no matter what I do, OBS won't make it show up. And I don't know why. And I feel very, very bad. I feel incredibly bad, especially I was literally about to set up my own raid. You come in here like, hey, hi. Like, what can I do? What can I do? How to entertain guests? Panic. Press the panic button first. Also, yeah, time zone buddies, yay! It is only 8 a.m. 8 a.m. It's only 8 p.m. I don't want to stop yet. Wait, okay, hold on. I'm gonna try another game, see if that one works, okay? I've literally gone through 3 different games already trying to make Steam, it's not Steam, make OBS pick them up, but it's like, it's not, it's not working. Okay, one more try. Let's see if this one works, okay? Yeah! Oh, okay, you know what? This one works. This one works. Okay, we're good. Okay, you know what? We're gonna do this one. That's a little loud. Oopsie. Oh yeah! Hello kiddo, I recognize you outside immediately.
Yeah, I'm a whole kiddo.
I'm a very big fan. Oh my god. Okay, I don't know why this one worked and the other one won't. Other ones won't, but I'm just gonna. This is the most self-stream I've watched so far. Thank you. Yeah, I'm very proud of my first impression, of the first impression I'm giving you right now. This looks at what is this? This is a very short novel type game. I follow this artist on Instagram. They made it in a very short amount of time. It's not a very long game, but I think it's a bit depressing as well. Been out for a little while. They made a few of those, where all of it is just made with their own art in Unity. It's looks very, very nice from what I've seen so far. Also, thank you so much for the sub. I'm glad you enjoy the stuff. But yeah, it's made by Angela He. Story inspired by real life. Tools: Photoshop, Unity, and Audacity. It has like 4 songs. It's not gonna be terribly long, but I saw they made a whole like sped up version of how they made this entire game and uploaded that on YouTube as well. That's what I watched. They have several of them out. You have to go get myself some gnomes. Okay, thank you again. Thank you so much for the raid. Even if this was such a mess, oh my god. Cave noise very good in my brain. Alrighty, let's see. We have missed messages. Trigger warnings. There are mentions of suicide and self-harm in this game. Oh, yeah. What a lovely thing to step into, right? Oh, that's loud. Oh, that is loud. Is that only loud for me? Lovely. Is it only so loud for me? Is it okay for you guys? Smooth jazz. It is 1 p.m. Shortly after 1 p.m. Also gay and a trans flag noise. Perfect for staying inside and finishing my work. Enable 80 plus stream setting. I have the 18 plus stream setting enabled, I think. It should be. My streams are all 80 plus. 80 plus actually. There's only elders here. You won't find a single young person. Also, thank you for the posture check. Okay. I can interact with the tea. Tea is the best drink, cheap, caffeinated, and tasty. And that wasted 2 minutes. Okay, more tea. I cannot interact with any of these guys. I can interact with the laptop. What about this one? Books. So many books. There are literally pockets of Viet Cong in the back of my shelf that don't know the war is over. Oh man. What about the flags? About a girl over one time, she saw these and said, "You're an LGBT supporter." No, I'm gay for you, damn it. Ouch! Okay. I feel it. Plants. Filling my heart by filling my room with plants. Sweet. I'm ignoring that laptop as fast as I can. What about the mirror? Ooh. Ally! Speak, Valentina! Ally! A classic lazy look. I'm editing successfully. I also adore the Madoka and Homoda art up there. I think that's literal official art though. From the art style, it looks like official Madoka art. I realize you cannot see my cursor. Anyway. Okay, papers. You're right, love May. Hope midterm went well, got your boba, it's in the fridge. You're right. My precious Madoka Magica poster, which really is just a printout. God, they're cute. And some notes from my friend and roommate, May, who's both distant and a total sweetheart. The bag. Outer door, inner door. Okay, what does the laptop say? Work stuff. What even is a 4-dimensional shape? I need to work, but I'm so bored, I can't focus. GovGF's iPhone wants to send you a note. What's this? Should I accept it? Wait, hold on. Can I move? Oh, I can move these! I joined and see Madoka artwork. Is that even allowed? I don't see why it shouldn't be. What about this one? Can I change the music? I can! Oh, that's funky. The preview is empty. And GovGF's iPhone. AirDrop. Discord, Spotify, Chrome. Do I want to accept it? I guess I do. Sure. Fuck yeah, what a lovely dog. So cute. Send a meme back. Thank you for dog. Oh, that's a... What are they called? We care bears? We bear bears? I wanted to watch that for the longest time, but I never got around to it. I wonder if she responds. Are you telling me whoever we are has a GovGF? Hey, wants to send you a note. You're welcome. So, Pastel Princess of Mac Pro, what are you up to? Working back and focus, existential crisis. Maybe let's not start with the existential crisis. Is this even a commercial game to begin with? No, it's free to play. I think. Hold on, let me see that I don't say any nonsense. It is a free to play game, yes. Working back and focus. Working back and focus. The memes. Okay. Can I I can leave the laptop. Okay, what's in the inner door? The door of my roommate, May. Getting closer, I hear voices. Listen. Listen. Although my Chinese was bad, I could still detect an angry Chinese mother when I heard one. Oh, I do not... I cannot understand that. Too lazy, why don't you... Oh, is our roommate getting chewed out? Her mother's fast, lecturing Chinese, sometimes paused for May's soft murmur of affirmation, then continued. I felt like I was listening to something I shouldn't have, so I distanced myself from the door. How is it already 3 p.m.? What the Okay, what's the other door? The door to the outside world. Bathroom! Okay, what's in the bathroom? Ooh. Ah. What kind of fucking bathroom is this? Are you guys living in a dorm? I do what I gotta do, then go back. That's... Okay, that's valid, yeah. I guess the laptop is what we should... Ah! Oh my god, yes, I'm down tomorrow. Feel free to swing by my room whenever you're free. Okay. Whoever you are. Do I respond to this? No? Yes? Maybe? It suddenly looks like a dormitory bathroom. It does, yeah. I was thinking, like, okay, roommate, sure, but... How do I go to work, actually? What's this one? Doesn't do anything. This one doesn't do anything. What's this one? Spotify? No? Why is it 1 in the morning? It was literally 3 p.m. just now. What? The hell? Okay. Later that night, I went out to meet GoffGF. Before I left, my roommate opened her door. Hi. Do you have heterochromia or is that just the art style? You're leaving? When will you get back? Probably after 9. Oh. Why? No reason. Okay. Bye then. Wait. Before the day ends, happy birthday. It's 1 a.m. What do you mean, before the day ends? The day just started. Time skip for pretty girl reasons. You remember? No one else remembered. I didn't even remember. Of course I remembered. She sang for me sweetly. There's a glitch in her hair there. Thank you. No, thank you for being my friend. What? Why are you telling me this? I just thought life is so short. Why not express my appreciation for the people I care about? In that case, you're also an amazing friend. Thanks for being my friend too. Aww. I'll see you later. Goodbye. Oh. I like that there's a little glitches all the way in there. That's funny. I met up with GoffGF. She told me her name, Amy. We walked to the roof, laid out a blanket, and watched the stars. Ooh. Okay, GoffGF, what you do? The sky's gorgeous tonight. I know, right? I'm forever that girl that gets really excited when the sky is in pretty colors. What do you think of when you look at the sky? Nothing, for once. Only a feeling. Damn. Nothing? You know when your mind is constantly noisy? I look at the sky and I realize it's so much bigger than me. My problems mean nothing compared to it and my mind quiets. It's so poetic. What about the airdrop? So, how many strangers did you airdrop besides me? Everyone has showed up. Maybe 5? Did you meet all of them? Nah, only you. I'm the only one? You were also the only one to send something back. Okay, to be fair, I would also not accept an airdrop from a stranger. Arts. So you into makeup? Hell yeah, I am. God, can you imagine being so powerful you can transform into different people? Because I can. God is a woman. Oh, makeup artist? Have you thought about being a makeup artist? You think I'm that talented? You're sweet. God, that'd be amazing. The competition is fierce though. I'll just stick with it as a hobby. That's fair. If you ever need someone to practice looks on, I volunteer as a tribute. You're a beautiful canvas. Ooh, am I? I'll definitely take you up on that. Yeah, let's not talk about how expensive it is. Let some time pass. As the sky darkened, I grew addicted to Amy's smile. What do you mean the sky darkened? It's 3 a.m. Wouldn't it actually literally get lighter again? I'm just gonna ignore whatever it says up there in the corner, not gonna lie. It's getting late, we should head back. Aw. You're cute. Goodbye, kiss? Go. Yes? You're the cutest. No, you. I'll see you later. See you. What do you mean? We meet up. What? We meet up once and she's already like, goodbye, kiss? I turned my phone off to save battery. On my way back home, I checked my phone. Oh. Hey, sweetie, how was your day? I'm scared. You're a great friend. It's not your fault. What? Yo! The screen is... That's German. Thursday, July 28th. That is literally tomorrow. You think this game actually resorts to like my computer clock? I don't think this has to read my computer clock. I don't think that's how it usually is. That would be a weird coincidence considering that this game came out a little while ago. Yeah, it's I'm guessing it reads the time and date from your computer settings, and like because my computer's in German, so I don't know how it came to that time though. That's weird. Do you think the Matterhorn was foreshadowing? I hope it is. Okay, what do I do with all these messages? You get a message tomorrow from a person called GothGF. If I get a GothGF tomorrow, I'm gonna... Sheesh. When I came back home, I felt cold, nervous, but I didn't know why. Why would it be tomorrow? I don't know. Okay, the only thing we can interact with is the door to on. Don't come in, call the police, they'll know what to do. Love, May. Don't come in the room. Did she kill herself? What do you mean, don't come in, call the police? Are you telling me you're in there dead? I read the note. Don't come in, call the police, they know what to do. Love, May. Don't come in the room. I wanna know though. I wanna know. Can I call the police and then open the door? Probably not. I can probably only do one of them. You guys cannot see my cursor, but call police and open it. I don't think it's gonna allow me to open it, but I'm gonna try. Call. I called the police as I stared at the door, not blinking. When they arrived, I felt myself looking down on the scene. Myself, her, the police that eventually came. A disembodied feeling. and heard myself scream endlessly. We started better with the Gotcha kiss on the first meetup and now this. You do save scam and do both. Yeah, I don't... Ooh, ooh. My disembodied self watched me move and talk like an actor in the surreal circus I found myself in. I overheard strangers and friends alike talk. Did you hear what happened? No, what? Someone committed suicide. That's so sad. Who? Where? Second floor. You probably don't know her. May? No, but that sucks. Most pitied the way she went, but didn't miss her. But I remembered her smile, her laugh, the way she'd be kind in small ways. I couldn't forget her. When new people came into my life, I searched for her in them. I couldn't help it. I hoped she was still there. It was only during the funeral that the reality sunk in. At the funeral, I heard her singing, now sad and slow. Her singing when everyone else forgot and her not being there anymore to remember. As I listened to her, my disembodied self crashed down to reality. The pain hit, this time without the anesthesia of shock. This was real. She was dead and we were putting her on the ground. The end. Miss. No one saw it coming. Could I have? Was there a message I missed? I mean, she told you like, oh, what the fuck? Okay, again. Can we say for... I fucking hope so. This is different than before though. Also, thank you for the hydrate name. A heavy blizzard stretched on for miles. In the distance I saw a figure. May? It's not safe here. May, is that you? Come back. She just smiled, looking content amidst the dangerous hail. As if she was going somewhere better. As if she hadn't heard my voice, lost in the blizzard. Don't go, please. Don't go alone. She disappeared into the snow. I'd missed my chance. Oh, you're gonna hold it? You're gonna hold it in front of my face, be like, ha ha, you fucked up. And now you want to try again? Fuck you. Okay. I wake up in a cold sweat, fearful, but not sure why. What was that about? Never mind that, I should start working. Oh, okay, there's 4 different endings to this game. Maybe one of them can let us save her. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna... Wait, let's try first what happens if we do the same thing as before. Like if we miss her message. Like if we miss out on her. I need to work, but that dream, I can't focus. What's this? Should I accept it? Yeah, you should. It's a funny dog. So cute. Send the meme back. I wonder if she respond. Because we were so busy flirting with some random girl, we completely missed out. Yeah, but what are you up to? Working but can focus? That's weird. I hear voices. Seems like they're coming from my roommate's room. What if I ignore her? No, I feel that. I hope I'm not distracting you. I also can't focus. I'm procrastinating with makeup right now. I feel like earlier, because I left the laptop, we apparently missed out on more messages. Let's see the makeup. Thank you, you're sweet. Let's see the makeup. I'm sure you worked hard on it. Oh. Tell me I'm beautiful, mother. Hello. You're the cutest. Hi, you're the most beautiful. What the fuck are you guys using to send these things? Because this, you cannot tell me this wasn't made in Snapchat. The whole, like, the way it looks is like Snapchat. Love that little heart on the cheeks though. Except, I want you wrapped in my arms like a burrito. Be my burrito. Okay, no, you're so cute. Go out with me. I see. Okay, maybe it's not that sudden then if I missed out on doing all this, but it registered as me saying all this first time around. Aha, go out with me, sure. Yeah, want to meet me later tonight outside my room? Fucking Shrek meme. Yes, I'll see you. Okay. I like how the memes are all a little grainy. Okay. Oh! Later that night, and now it's also literally night and not the middle of the morning, I went out to meet Govgf. Before I left, my roommate opened her door. Hi! You're leaving? When will you get back? Probably after 9. Oh. Why? No I do not want to see her die again, but I want to get all of the endings. No reason. Okay, bye then. Wait. Before the day ends, happy birthday. You remembered? No one else remembered. I didn't even remember. Of course I remembered. And the hair's glitched again. Happy birthday to you. She sang for me sweetly. Thank you. No, thank you for being my friend. Oh, what if you don't? Okay, bye. Thanks for being my friend too. Aww. I'll see you later. Bye. You will in fact see her later, yes, but not like that. I met up with Govgf. She told me her name, Amy. We walked to the roof, laid out a blanket, and watched the stars. Okay, what if I don't ask you about all your stuff? As the sky darkened, I grew addicted to Amy's smile. It's getting late. We should head back. Aww. You're cute. Goodbye. Okay, we literally didn't even say anything, but we still get a goodbye kiss. Okay. You're the cutest. No, you. I'll see you later. See you. I turned my phone off to save battery. On my way back home, I checked my phone. There's this like tiny window of time in between the 40 minutes ago and the 22 minutes ago where if we had seen it, maybe we could have done something. I come back home. Nope, the note is on the wall. It's happening again. Oh, should I open it this time? You turned off your phone to save battery, also check your phone for the time. No, we turned the phone back on after the day to like check the time. Also, oh my god! Hi, welcome Raiders! Welcome, welcome! Hi, thank you so much! I'm new, I like the color pink, visual novels and JRPGs, and we're having a little bit of trouble with the games I originally wanted to play, so we're doing missed messages. Please be careful, because this game has, well, not even just a mention of suicide, but straight up like a suicide, so if that's not to your taste, be careful. You brought flowers on, that's so sweet, thank you. Also, you get a Pikachu. Also, oh my god, okay, sorry, the chat is moving too fast for me. Thank you so much for the resub, Cole. Welcome. Pikachu for the Raiders. Before we open this door to inevitably find our roommate dead. I mean, what?
Pikachu! Pika! Pikachu!
Also, how that's funny. I had originally, thank you for the nyan by the way. I had originally planned to raid you because it didn't really work out the way we wanted to, but guess this is where we're at now. We'll go and raid this perfect time. Someone committed suicide in this game. Yes. And this time, this is our second time around, and this time I want to see what happens if we open the door. You go and cook some real nice. Go cook some rice. You do that. Also, drink something. Hydrate. You want to see that corpse? I'm not sure if it's graphic. I hope it's not graphic, actually. The door felt heavier than usual. As I opened the door... Oh! I saw the body hanging. Smell. Sight. There was no blood, but I felt blood on my hands. I felt myself looking down on the scene, myself. I heard the police that eventually came, a disembodied feeling. And heard myself scream endlessly. Oh, that is... Oh, yeah. That is relatively graphic, yeah. Did you hear what happened? No, what? Someone committed suicide. That's so sad. Who? Where? The second floor. You probably don't know her, May. No, but that sucks. Oh, why? Why does it do that? Relatively graphic, yes. Yeah. At the funeral, I heard her singing, now sad and slow. I know... What the fuck? Just heard a very loud pang right outside the window. What the hell? I know it wasn't my fault, but I play back this moment anyways. I wonder if I'll ever be able to forgive myself. Would that be what May wanted? The end, forgive. I keep replaying this moment. May would have forgiven me. Can I forgive myself? Now we have trauma! I want to save her. A heavy blizzard stretched on for miles, and in the distance I saw a figure. This is the same one. May? It's not safe here. May, is that you? Come back. She just smiled, looking content amidst the dangerous hail. As if she was going somewhere better, as if she hadn't heard my voice, lost in a blizzard. Don't go, please. Don't go alone. She disappeared into the snow. I'd missed my chance. Okay, let's see. I wake up in a cold sweat, fearful but not sure why. What was that about? Never mind that, I should start working. Nah. Okay. You reckon you'd be able to win in an arm wrestling competition against Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? No. No, I don't think I would. I need to work, but I dream. I can't focus. Why do you ask? Are you trying to get people together to have them arm wrestle against Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? Okay, sure. Accept the message? I guess. Ooh, funny dog. And work now. I make a valiant attempt at working. After some minutes, I get tired and want to take a break. Now let's work. Let's focus. You can't give confirm deny. Okay. Well, I'm sorry if you're trying to get the people to arm wrestle against Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I don't think I'm going to be of much help, but I appreciate you reaching out. I spent 30 minutes trying to understand, but ultimately ending up confused. Why am I a fool? A hooligan? An oaf with a PhD in buffoonery? I don't even know what any of this is saying. That's weird. I hear voices. Seems like they're coming from my roommate's room. Oh. The door of my roommate, me. Getting closer, I hear voices. Should I listen? Yeah. Although my Chinese was bad, I could still detect an angry Chinese mother when I heard one. I do not understand. But it seems like her mother is berating her. Somehow. That's probably like that pushed her over the edge, maybe. Too lazy, why don't you? Her mother's fast, lecturing Chinese, sometimes paused for my soft murmur of affirmation, then continued. I felt like I was listening to something I shouldn't have, so I distanced myself from the door. Okay. This game is German, English, and Chinese. No, listen, I think the weird German part is just because of my computer setting. Because this was made in Unity, I'm guessing it somehow takes it from there. I do not think the game actually takes place on the 28th of July, because that would be a very weird coincidence. Or the 27th of July, actually. Oh no! It's a sad cat. I cannot look at the sad cat. I have to work. I attempt to focus back on my work and succeed for some time. I begin to lose focus again. The noise from my roommate's room has quieted down. Oh. No, I didn't want to answer. I wanted to knock on the door. The door of my roommate, May. I wonder if I should check up on her. Yes, do that. Ask her what that was about. I hesitated and knocked. For some reason, I feared what I might find. Hello? Hi. Yeah? Shit, what should I say? Would you like to hang out? Wanna hang out in my room? And do what? I don't know. Talk? But I have work to do. Then take a break. I've been taking like 15. You always have work to do. You should take a break. Besides, we haven't hung out for a long time. I miss you. Nah, I could use a break, to be honest. And I miss you too. Okay, hold on a sec. She went back into her room to get something. When she came back, we laid on my bed, looking out to the setting sun. Why is it so shaky? I don't know. Life? What are you up to these days? I feel like we haven't caught up in a long time. A lot and also not much. A lot. Sorry, I haven't stayed updated. Stay updated, like I'm your favorite TV show. Don't worry about it. I just feel like I don't make enough time for you. That's okay. You're not obligated to. Oh yeah, it's your birthday, right? I forgot. You remember? Of course I did. Happy birthday to you. She sang me happy birthday. Aw, thank you for remembering. As the years flew by, my birthday became like any other day. No one else had remembered it either, but she had. Dream? I had a weird dream. Ooh, what? It was about you, actually. It was kind of haunting. Oh my god, I need to hear this. You were in a snowstorm and I called for you, but you didn't hear me. And I lost you. Huh. What does it mean? I have no idea, but it stuck with me. Oh, I hope you're okay. I hope you're okay too, May. It's just a dream. Here, if you're still scared by bedtime, I'll tell you a bedtime story, okay? Oh yeah, bedtime stories. What do you dream? What are your dreams like? Oh, disturbing. Someone always dies. Like my most recent one, it featured you actually. In a bad or good way? Good. Go on. There was a massive epidemic. It was gonna wipe out the world. I got infected, I was gonna die. Then you discovered the cure and I was saved. Wow, that's scary. I always knew I was gonna save the world. Yeah, Dream, you really saved me. We don't have to make time for her unless we want her to live. How are you? So how have you been? Fine, just tired. Big mood, how so? I don't know, like a bone deep tiredness? Day after day? What do you mean? Like, every day I wake up, force myself to do something I don't like and go back to sleep. Sometimes I look outside my window and see a whole world out there and feel the struggle of being stuck inside all day. Okay. What are things you enjoy? It's cliche, but why not do what you love? It's not that easy. If I knew what I love doing, I'd be doing it by now. But I don't know what I want to do. I'll help you. We figured this out. I'll try every hobby and profession with you if that's what it takes. Yeah, girl, that's what's called immersion. Thank you. Why are you so good to me? Because I watched you die twice now. Because I'm worried about you and I care about you. I want you to feel better. Let some time pass. We talk more about everything and nothing. From TV shows and memes to our worst fears and biggest desires. Before we knew it, evening dawned. I gotta go, I have work. Yeah, good luck. I'm always down to hang again. Yeah, thank you for listening to me. It really means a lot. Although I also had work, I didn't regret talking with May one bit. Yeah, no! I hate it. Wow, time flies by fast. I kind of need to use the bathroom. Must be all that tea. The door to the outside world. Bathroom. I feel like the content warning at the start of the game could have been a little more clear about what this contains. I'm sorry. With scissors? Girl, no. I opened the door to my roommate May. She didn't seem to hear or see me. They did give a trigger warning, yeah, but like, there's a difference between, I don't know, mentioning it and outright showing it. Girl, hello? Hey, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm fine, I'm sorry. Why are you apologizing? Are you really okay? You don't look okay. I need to go. No. You're not going anywhere. Wait, don't go. Can I hug you? I feel like that's still an awkward move, but I will not let her go now. She nodded silently. I hugged her. I wanted to say something, yet didn't want to break the silence. Like, obviously, yeah, right? It's like, are you okay? Oh yeah, I am. She's like, she cut open her entire arm. She's obviously not okay. She's trying to literally escape from here because you just saw her do this and you're like, are you really okay? Bruh. After a pause, she spoke. Thank you, I guess I'm not okay. I just say I'm okay because it's a gut reaction? I don't really feel okay, but I don't want to bother anyone. Especially you. You're so kind. I made soothing emotions on her back. Why are you sad? I'm not gonna ask that, bro. Thanks for being here. Of course. The options in this game are... I know this doesn't look good. I need to punish myself. I don't deserve your kindness, I really don't. Hey, yes you do. You're a good person. Of course you deserve kindness. Is there anything I can do? Hug? Just hug. It's been months since that day. May and I have gotten closer. I'd even consider her a best friend. You were not best friends before? Okay. In dark moments, we held each other's hands. Although I supported her, I didn't want to feel responsible for her. Didn't want her to be dependent on me. So we drove to every therapist in town until we found one she liked. Or until you found one who actually has spots open, who will take you in, who doesn't tell you, oh, we don't take any new patients, but also we don't have a wait list, and also you just wasted like 3 hours calling every single place in town and also outside of town, because none of them work with, you know, emails or any more accessible options, because obviously people who are trying to gain access to therapy are very comfortable with phone calls most of the time and are willing to spend most of the day trying to get rejected again and again. I mean, what? One night, May hugged me by surprise. May, thank you. Me? What for? I don't know how to say this without seeming emotionally constipated. Thanks for caring about me. For listening to me. I couldn't tell you before because I was sad, but I appreciate you, really. Oh, anytime. Thank you too, for being my friend. You teach me to be more kind. Oh my god, no you. No, you. You in reverse. Later that night she gave me a note, both haunting and touching. It read, I was buried in a blizzard. The snow pelted, powerful and unpredictable, never ending. I weakly cried for help and no one came, my voice lost in the snow. But you saw my messages. You grabbed a shovel, helped, and I could finally open my door. Whoop. The end. Hope. There's something to look forward to after all. Thank you for playing. But that's not all of the endings though. There's 4 endings. To living in a parallel universe where therapy is easy. Why do all of you have Uno? Damn, I wish I had a Uno emote. Some of the dialogue in this game is gonna age like milk. I mean, to be fair, actually, when did the game come out? This game originally released on the 20th of May in 2019. Also, the trigger warning on Steam says contains mentions of suicide and self-harm. What do you mean mentions? You literally have her. You have a CG of her cutting her arm. That's more than just a mention. Now it has 4 endings, so there's one more. It's a bit more than just mention, yeah. There's one more ending apparently. Hold on. Let's see. We kind of do the same. Aha! Because we got the hope ending just now, we're starting normal again. We're starting normal again without the blizzard because we helped her out. Okay. Interesting. I'm sorry, I do not want that song. Please give me the calmer song. Okay, apparently we do the same thing, but we let her go when we find her there. 2 more, right? You got the same one twice? No. Well, no, the way to get there is the same. But the first one is the missed ending, which probably most people get on the first run, and then the second one is the forgiveness ending. The only difference there being the whole, oh, I wonder if she would forgive me, but I don't know if I can forgive myself. So those are two different endings, though they're not that different. Anyway, go back to work. Work. We hear voices, so we're gonna listen in. Listen. Yep, then we go away from there. Then we go. I really want to actually. What does it say? Something partner. It's one of those sad cat memes, the crying cat memes. They always make me sad. I'm like, no, I want to see a cat crying, please. Go back to work. PhD in buffoonery. Again. Something pandas! The noise from your roommate's room has died down. Then we ask her to hang out. I think it goes in ending because that's the choice now we would take in that situation. Don't fucking ask me. I wonder what's gonna happen. Anyway, hi. Want to hang out? Just talk. Take a break. Yeah. Alright. What about... Oh, we haven't talked about the sky. Isn't the sky beautiful? It's so vast. I know, right? The sky always makes me think about how tiny we are. Yeah, we're tiny and mortal. Like, tomorrow we could just die like that. Stop! Stop! That's sad. Oh, don't say that. That's so sad. Oh, my bad. Sometimes my existential crisis creep up on me. Oh yeah, it's your birthday, right? We're just okay, you're just gonna gloss over that. Okay, damn. You remembered? Of course I did. I'm speedrunning the conversation. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna speedrun making you feel better. How are you? Fine, you're just tired. Yeah, you're depressed. Sometimes don't appreciate the writing of this game. I do not appreciate the writing of this game at all. It's very weird. Things you enjoy. I'll help you. Let some time pass. Okay. Time flies by. You kind of need to use the bathroom. Alright. Graphic warning. Whee! Hey, are you okay? Obviously not. Why are you apologizing? Are you really okay? I need to go. Okay. Okay, so there's a different ending if we let her go. Okay, feel better. Are you fucking stupid? What the fuck do you mean? You see someone cutting their arm? And you ask them, oh, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine, I need to go. And you just say, okay? Are you fucking... Oh my god. What? Shortly after that day, May moved out. I haven't heard from her since. Before she left, she'd written me a note. I was buried in a blizzard. The snow pelted powerful and unpredictable, never ending. I weakly cried for help and no one came, my voice lost in the snow. But you saw my messages. You grabbed a shovel, helped, and I could finally open my door. Yeah, I did not! I did not, in fact, help. What are you talking about? Forget. Yeah, sure, let's forget. Text her? Also, thank you for the hydrate time. I wonder whether she reply. I wonder whether she's still alive. Well, damn, bitch! What? The end survivor surviving one night at a time. Thank you for playing. What? That's stupid! Oh, there's a faster text speed. Good to know. What the fuck? That's so fucking stupid! You walk in. You walk in on your roommate, cutting the arm, like literally still bleeding, crying. Are you okay? They obviously lied to you. Yeah, I'm okay. I need to go because they're panicking at this point. And you're like, oh yeah, okay, bye. They move out, and then like months after, you're like, maybe I should text them. Maybe I should text them. Hey, wanna catch up sometime? Wanna reminiscence about the time I found you in the bathroom? Like, what? What? That's stupid. I'm sorry, that's just fucking stupid. What kind of... I'm gonna scream. I mean, I'm already screaming, but I feel like that was one of the most stupidest. Like, the art is gorgeous. The artwork is gorgeous, but the writing? The writing? Because this is the same person, what is it? This is the same person that also made A New Life. Which also came out, 2 years ago at this point. A New Life, which was a love story, was made kind of the same way. I saw someone play that once, and I liked that one enough. But this one, I'm not sure what to think. I'm just very... I don't know. No. It's even worse than the ending where she actually died. Yeah, right? Because it's like you tried to reach out, but you were so emotionally constipated, you didn't really know how to act. Interesting though. Interesting game, I guess. I mean, it is free to play. It is free to play. It has gorgeous artwork, but the story itself, not my thing. Not my thing. But hey, at least this one worked, because the other game I had planned on playing is also free to play game. But I don't know, for whatever reason it wouldn't show up in OBS, so it was emotionally brain dead. Oh my god, this was an experience. But hey, I'm glad we got to experience it together. We're gonna end here tonight because I do not have yet another short game ready that I can maybe try to throw into OBS and maybe it will actually show up. But thank you guys so much for coming, especially both of these raids that happened after I had already planned on stopping the stream. Thank you guys so much for coming by. We're gonna play our show on Friday again. No stream tomorrow. We're gonna stream Ash on Friday. And hopefully get to year 3, finally. Get some more events done. Maybe actually even see an ending. I don't know, we'll see about it. Thank you for streaming. No, thank you guys so much for coming. Everyone who's new here, I do this every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I have a schedule posted on Twitter. I have a Discord. Actually, hold on. 1 second. I have a Discord. I have a Discord server. I mostly play story-heavy games. So if you guys are into story-heavy games, please come by again. We finished 2 games in 1 stream. Yeah, we did that. Thank you guys so much for coming. Let me set up a raid to... because I can finally raid him back. Very loud keyboard noises, I'm sorry. Here's the raid message. Thank you guys so much for coming. Once again, I'll be back on Friday for more Asha, on Saturday for more Somnium Fast Nirvana Initiative, and on Sunday we're actually gonna play Escape Simulator with my good friend Has, which is gonna be funky as hell. So if any of you are interested in that, please come by. Thank you Ada for the raid. Thank you so much. Good night, everyone. Let me switch over to this screen. Oh my god, so many settings. Thank you guys for coming. Good night.
Bye bye.